Happy Sunday. This is PFG Live, the podcast that reminds you to make everything flat, including your microphone frequency response. Welcome aboard. We've got a good crowd in the Discord. We've got Warren Jones, Evils, Paul, DBX, Tucker, Carl. Everybody's here. We got on the YouTube side, we got CJ Stevens and also Carl. Carl's got two hands. He's got two keyboards. He's not afraid to use them. Welcome aboard. Tuck says, what does Tuck say? Tuck says it's 68 degrees Fahrenheit and sunny in Buffalo, New York. Evil says that somewhere in his humble abode it is 21.5 degrees science with a 14.9 degree dew point. Paul says it's Dallas being 87 degrees Frankenstein. Yuck. Let's see. Who else we got here? In the Pelham, New Hampshire, the Windham, New Hampshire, also the Pelham, New Hampshire, it's 57 degrees, 79% relative humidity with light rain. Manchester reporting winds are 050 at 06 knots, gusting 17 knots, 10-mile visibility, broken 1800, overcast 2300, temperature 13, dew point 08, altimeter 3023. The remarks are unimportant. Good morning. We've been chitter-chattering away in the Discord, and we have a light crowd today. So it is a 3-day holiday weekend, Monday being Indigenous Peoples Day, and we recognize and salute and respect our Indigenous peoples, and the day off. So we will enjoy that as well. Let's see. Somebody just popped in. Oh, did I mention Unix Carbide? Unix Carbide's here. So welcome to Brooklyn, New York. We need a weather report from you there, Unix. So today is going to be a little unusual. This crew, right? Today's going to be a little unusual in that it is officially an AMAA, which is like an AMA with some restrictions. Ask me almost anything. So we'll cover some of the goings on, and then you guys could fire questions until I give up. Unix Carbide says in the Brooklyn, New York, it is 61 degrees Frankenstein, 100% relative humidity, which probably means it's raining. So that's cool. We need the rain, actually, so we're not sorry for it. Now, I do know there's a nor'easter heading up the coast, and I don't have the weather maps up. If some of you guys who are at your home workstation can throw an image of where that storm is into the chat, that would be appreciated. DBX is reporting from the vicinity of White Plains Airport. Winds are 020 at 9 knots, 10-mile visibility, scattered clouds 2,900, broken 3,700, broken 7,000, temperature 15, dew point 09, altimeter 3008. And welcome aboard. So, so we're going to have an AMAA today. We're going to talk a little bit about our robots that are working away and doing good stuff. A little bit more, maybe too much talk about some of the 3D printing things because, listen, it's a good tool and it helps us get a lot done. So don't give me any grief. Let's see. Test Room 2003 says, good evening from Oostkapelle, Netherlands, with gray weather. 14 degrees science, 90% relative humidity. Welcome aboard. Nice to see you. Oh, look at that. Dale from the Edmonton of Alberta is reporting snow. No, seriously. Look at that. He says it's -1 Charlie and a little bit of snow at the mom's house in northwest part of Hoth. And here's that storm image showing the storm off the coast of Massachusetts. So we're feeling the upper effect of it. I'm sure New York is getting, spit upon right now. And we'll see what happens. We might get some rain out of this, and we need it. And welcome to Hoth. It's nice to see you, Dale. We appreciate you, and if you ever have to take shelter, you know what to do. What else? it's been a shockingly busy week, for which I am grateful. And I'm looking forward to the 3-day weekend, which doesn't affect how much I do, but here it is. Mr. Longkemper, which I'm sure I'm not pronouncing, Kurt, says in Amsterdam, says it's 15 degrees, science 53 degrees Fahrenheit. Thank you for the translation. Overcast, relative humidity 82%, north winds at 2 knots, and the QNH is 1030 hectopascals. Art that makes art. Welcome aboard, sir. Let's see. You're not late. You're not late, but you do need to give us a weather report. That's part of the rules. And yeah. So let's see. Let's go down the list here. The most important thing I can tell you today, and when I say most important, I am not joking around, is that I have been married 33 years as of yesterday. 33 years with Chandra, and it has been absolutely a magnificent experience. I would say I highly recommend it, but she's taken. So, happy anniversary, sweetie. I love you. That happened yesterday. Let's see. I want to some of the small things we'll get off the plate. The lapping. Okay, so the 8. This is an update on the 8-inch lapping plates. They are getting moved down to the lapping area, which is in the basement in a nice temperature stable environment, and we're going to start putting together the improvements to the lapping station for the 8-inch plates. One of the things I have to do is I have some ideas about handling them, because they're 17 pounds each. The laps are 17 pounds. So moving them around, there's some things I want to do, and I will be sharing that later as we have some results. Welcome aboard to Orjan and Robin. And Adam, welcome. Nice to see you guys. Adam threatened to show up, and he did. A really good thing happened yesterday, in that, as you are no doubt aware, I use a lot of parts from Adafruit to do some of this playing around that we're doing with the hygrometer and other things. And I went to order batteries. One of the things we were short on our bill of materials for this 10-piece build was batteries. And I go to Adafruit, and what do you know? They are out of stock. And I was sort of bumming. And I'm like, okay, we got enough. We could make 6 of them. We'll get more later. And then I remembered, and this is the piece of information that I want to pass along, that Adafruit sells also through DigiKey. Not everything they sell, but a lot of the things. And sure enough, I went over to DigiKey and I checked it out, and there were my batteries. And I placed an order with a couple extras. So we have batteries coming for this build. So the current plan is we're going to build hygrometers, quantity 10. I might pump that up a little bit and start populating, all of our AMSs and a couple of other ones in some weird places for monitoring. So that's underway. So DigiKey will back up your Adafruit needs. Just move my things over here. We'll get a little bit deeper into the hygrometer success, and I see a light at the end of the tunnel, because I want to get that thing in operation and not wondering about it. Let's see who just checked in. Tim Beatty just checked in. He says 24/7 coverage of the nor'easter that might produce rain. Yeah. Meanwhile, Phoenix has a year's worth of rain in 2 days. It has 2 hurricanes in Baja, which moved through the southwest, and your pool is overflowing. I'm sorry, Tim. You're not supposed to get it all at once, are you? It's supposed to, like, spread it out. Lewis Brooks, welcome aboard, sir, from Glasgow. 12 degrees science, 81% humidity. That sounds about right. Yeah. So the let's see. I just got a load of filaments. I feel like Tuck now, getting all these shipments of filaments. So a couple of interesting things happened. I think I posted a picture earlier, if not on, yeah, here they are. If not on Instagram, I think I did post it on Instagram. I got some rolls to test of the Overture PLA Pro. They call it PLA Professional. They spell it out. Overture is the in-house brand for Amazon. I've used a lot of Overture filament, and I've been very happy with it. When we went to the AMSs, the Overture spools did not play nicely with the AMS, so we had to rip the sides off the spools, put an adapter in it, put it on the reusable bamboo spools, and it was a pain in the neck. So I started using bamboo filaments, but then later all of the filament manufacturers started recognizing that if they were not playing nicely in the AMS, they were losing business. So they started making, and this is what I really like, they started making cardboard spools that do play nicely in the AMS. So that has been true for the Polymaker filaments, which I've been using. And also now the Overture filaments, the cardboard spools are doing really well. So I wanted to see, well, let me back up. I've been using Polymaker Polysonic, remember that word, PLA Pro for some of the drone work that I'm doing. Now the Polysonic is designed to print fast, but light dawned on Marblehead that I wasn't pushing it. I was not pushing it to maximum speed. Therefore, the question was, am I getting any value out of it? Because they charge a premium for the Polysonic. Tim says, I like Overture. I still rip off the cardboard sides, and I also reuse the RFID tags from old bamboo spools. I totally get that. I don't use the RFID feature. I just don't trust things with antennas. I'm kidding. Yeah, go away, crickets. So I don't worry about that too much. But yeah, but the new cardboard spools from Overture are fine. So I asked the question, do I need the high-speed Polysonic feature? So I did a couple of things. The first thing I did, the first, Unix says magnets. You had to be there. The first thing I did is I ordered some of the Polymaker PLA Pro, not Polysonic. Carl is reporting winds are 18 knots out of the northeast in Rhode Island. So that's your storm coming in. 18 knots is moving right along. That's about 20 miles an hour for you landlubbers. Wow. So I have the Polymaker PLA Pro just came in. I also had sitting on the shelf waiting for a test the Overture PLA Professional. That's what you're seeing on your screen. So I resliced that with their profile, and I have to say it was molto buono, very clean, extremely clean. Couldn't be happier with the PLA Pro from Overture. So now we're going to redo that with the PLA Pro from Polymaker, not the Polysonic. I'm going to qualify that against the Polysonic and see if I can see any differences in typical applications. Because if you're not pushing it to print really fast, then the Polysonic is possibly not worth the extra shekels. And I will report back on that. And of course, what you're looking at is these are the P15 housings for the hygrometer. Little changes, but very happy with them. So we've stabilized on these, and I've printed all the ones I need for this build that we're doing now. So that's the latest. Josh just showed up. He says it's a balmy 17 degrees science in the not as north as Dale country. Welcome aboard, sir. Oh, while I'm on that, let me tell a story. I wasn't going to tell this story, but now I am. I get an order from Canada, and I'm packing the order, and I realize I can't send it USPS because of the strike. So I asked my customer in British Columbia, and he says, "Can you do DHL?" I said, "Yeah, I could do DHL." So, of course, I'd never done DHL before. So I go into my Shippo app, and you guys could tell me if I've told you this before. I don't know if I don't think I told this story. I go into my Shippo app, and sure enough, Shippo, hashtag not sponsored, has what they call an integration for DHL. All I had to do was slide the slide switch to the right, and boom, I had DHL. So I went ahead and I printed the label, did the thing, did all the customs things, got in the car, and headed to the DHL office that I found near Manchester Airport. Well, I walk in, and a very nice person helps me out at customer service. They wanted me to sign a little security sticker. I did that. They wanted to open it and inspect it. I did that. They closed it up. They retaped it, and they reprinted the label, and off it went. And I said, "Is this all I have to do? Like, are we totally set?" And they said, "Yes." And the nice person said, "By the way, the truck that goes to Boston leaves here at 4:45 every day." So I said, "Okay, I'll keep it in my head that 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I have to get you anything, that's going DHL." And then I started laughing because they are up by Manchester Airport, in the orbit of Manchester Airport, and they're trucking it down to Boston. Now, I recognize there's probably a bunch of stuff that does leave Manchester Airport by plane, but going to Canada, or going to where it was going in Canada, was leaving from Boston. So I go home, and I'm like a little nervous because I haven't done this with DHL before. And I hit the link that is provided to me in Shippo, and it doesn't quite give me the tracking. The next morning, I get up and I hit that link, and it brings up the tracking. I said, "Okay, now the tracking link is working." Well, I'm asking myself, why is it showing me? It's like showing me a bunch of steps that it's going to take. I'm like, why is it showing me all these steps that it's going to take to get to the final destination? I wasn't grokking this. And then finally, after I had some tea, I'm looking at the screen, and it's like, no, this is what it has already done, and it is delivered. I'm like, what? So I go through this thing really carefully, and I do a calculation. In less than 24 hours from the time I walked into that office up at Manchester Airport for DHL, or near Manchester Airport, less than 24 hours later, it was handed to my customer. Yeah. Then I get on the doobly-doo, and I send an email to my customer in BC, and I said, "Hey, this is what happened. Did you get the package?" And he sends me back a very smiley, happy email, and he says, not only did I get it, it's already in the CMM room and it's doing its job. I'm like, yay. So could not have been a better experience with DHL to Canada. I had a bad experience years ago with a shipment, and you give me a data point, I could draw a curve through it. This has erased all of that. Magnificent behavior. So Canada, if you're listening, and I know you are, it's all DHL to Canada from me right now. That's not true everywhere, but Canada, you have one shipping rate, and that's DHL. Oh, and the shipping rate, the cost, was exactly the same as it was going to cost USPS. I couldn't believe it. $35 US. A little more than that with all the handling and stuff. But it's like, whoa, that's pretty good. So I am very happy. Thank you, DHL. Thank you for doing a good job. And Canada, we got you covered. Strike, no strike, we don't care. Okay, so I wanted to tell you that story. Yeah. I'm going to give you the hygrometer report, and then we're going to get into the AMAA and see what happens. See what happens. So, hygrometer report. As I have previously shown you, this is the hygrometer known as KP8, and you can see in the top there's a little board which has our SHT45 temperature humidity sensor from Sensorion, and this is working great. This thing has been, in fact, KP8 right now is at 94.7% charge. It's been running for days. It's reporting 46% relative humidity, temperature 70 degrees Fahrenheit. This is waking up every 20 minutes and making a report. Yes, it is full of SHT. Every one of these is full of SHT. It's absolutely true. So this is working spectacularly well. It wakes up every 20 minutes, makes a report, and goes back to sleep. This also has the fan in it. Now, this particular experiment that we're doing now is no fan. And then, I don't know, it might even be tonight that I switch it over to the fan mode and compare the data. But this has been a win. So now we're getting into building them. I may have shown you, what the inside of the board looks like. We have an 18650 battery. That's the battery that was out of stock at Adafruit. We have the little feather board. We have the fan. Not shown in this particular engineering unit is the sensor that gets it screwed onto this post. Okay. So the housings work fantastically well. We had one problem, which we have come up with a solution for. In the fan mode, you could program it. You could say, I want you to take a reading every 20 minutes. I want you to turn the fan on for 20 seconds, and then turn the fan off for this many seconds, and then take your reading. You could set that second number to 0, which is what I'm running right now. So it's turn the fan on for 20 seconds, mix the air in this closed volume, which looks a lot like an AMS, then take your reading while the fan is running, which is best practices, by the way, based on the literature from Sensorion, and then shut down. The problem is that when we shut down for 20 minutes, we go into deep sleep. It uses microamps to keep a counter running. And then 20 minutes later, because that's the way you programmed it, it wakes up. But the fan was coming on. Even if I said in the file, there's a parameter, even if I said you don't have a fan, it was turning the fan on. This was making me a little crazy. So Jared has his own featherboard workstation downstairs. His is sitting over on the rack right now, taking data. Okay. And his featherboard workstation, we put an LED on it to show the output pin, which is driving the fan. Jared says he doesn't see the problem. Okay, so now it's getting weird. So at some point, I go in there and I put a pull-down resistor. Well, let me explain. The pin from the featherboard goes to a voltage regulator, a boost regulator. That is this little guy, okay? So this boost regulator, it's the size of my pinky nail. It's really small, maybe a little bigger than that. This boost regulator will take basically 2 to 5 volts and turn it into 5 volts. And the reason I'm excited about this one is it has an enable pin. So now the processor can drive that enable pin and turn it on, and the fan comes on because the fan likes to run at 5 volts, or turn it off, and it will turn off the fan. And they were very clear that when you turn it off, the current consumption drops to, teeny weeny itty bitty bits, which is exactly what we wanted. It was not working. It was coming on for these 4 seconds every boot cycle. So I talked to a very nice guy who's now a member of our Discord named Dan. Dan is one of the guys on the Adafruit Discord, and we went back and forth. He helped me a lot try to figure out what's going on. Finally, light dawns on Marblehead, and I put a stronger pull-down resistor on that pin. I went from a 10K resistor to a 4.7K resistor. Guess what happens? Perfect operation. The errant 4 seconds turn on at the beginning of the boot cycle went away. And I'm like, that's interesting. So I was very happy that, just a resistor value change was all it took. So I pull up the data sheet for the chip that is the workhorse on that board. It's made by Texas Instruments. It's called a TPS 61023. And I know you weren't going to sleep tonight without having that specific knowledge. Here's a picture of that board. And here, I'll give you a close-up. That's what the regulator board looks like. And this little weenie thing right here, that's the chip. That's an inductor. That big thing is an inductor. That's the chip. That's the whole circuit. So that circuit, if you go to the data sheet, is 99% right here in this data sheet. So you could, you stop squinting and you read the data sheet, and there's the circuit. Except when I reverse engineered the board, they have a 100K pull-up resistor going to V-in. What does that mean? That means if you use this board and ignore the enable pin, which is the white wire over here, then it comes on. It's just a regulator, a boost regulator. Well, my pull down was fighting their pull up. And until I got to 4.7K, that's why it was sort of in limbo, right? And it wasn't clear what value it needed. But clearly it had to be the 4.7K pull down fighting against the 100K pull up was working. Well, I looked at the schematic and I looked at the board and I said, well, gee, wouldn't it be nice if I can choose whether I want it to be a pull up on the enable pin or a pull down on the enable pin? So if you look really closely at the picture of the regulator on your screen, you see there's a little scratch mark that I made right here. Okay, I apologize to the guys on the audio podcast, but basically my plan is I'm going to cut this trace. That's the trace that's delivering V in to the chip, but also V in to this pull-up resistor. So I'm going to cut this trace, and then I'm going to put a little short to ground, and we're done. We might be done. That might be everything I need to do. It is possible that I might have to change this resistor value, which I think is 100K, and change it to a lower value. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a request to Adafruit and say, hey, here's a change you could make this board that would make it, a lot nicer. They have these little shapes in the PC board artwork that they can make, which is a solder selection. In other words, if you don't want it this way, just cut a little nubber and put a solder blob over here, and you get it the other way. That's what I'd love to see on this board. So the plan is I'm going to modify these units once I prove out the circuit, and that's what's going to be in the circuit. So it'll be a 5-volt regulator that you have to shoot, a logical 1 to. In this case, that would be a 3-volt output, and it'll turn on. That's the update. And I think that's the last of the problems. Never say last problem. I think it's one of the last problems to solve, to go into production with these guys. And I'm very excited about getting it done, because I got other things to do, so I want to get this done. So that's the story. Oh, I wanted to give you the Adafruit part number on this, just in case you're interested in checking it out further. It's called a mini boost, and it's actually capable of 1 amp at 5 volts. If it gets 3.3 volts, it'll do 1 amp at 5 volts, which is pretty impressive. Adafruit part number 4654. That's 4654. So that's the update on the hygrometer. We should be in production like real soon now. Stay tuned. And I do have some requests of people who want to do, alpha testing. And just to remind you, all of these hygrometers hang on the Wi-Fi network, and they talk to Home Assistant. So you give it in the little program. We'll do a video on this whole setup, but you literally plug in a USB cable. It'll pop up as a USB drive. You edit one file, and you tell it, how to log on to your Wi-Fi. You tell it where your Home Assistant server is and how to log into your Home Assistant server, and you're done. And it's running, and it's doing its job. Any questions on that? Because this has been going on for weeks. But if you have questions about, this is an AMAA, you can ask me anything. But if you have questions about the hygrometer, don't hesitate. That is the update, and that is the regulator solution on the hygrometer. So there you have it. Evil says, you're still not spinning your own board for this. Nope. I'm buying boards from Adafruit and calling it done. Josh says, speaking of Home Assistant, did you listen to the bill of materials? Yes. Okay. It's the Business of Machining podcast from John and John. Okay. We joke, the bill of materials. I've been doing this for a long time. It's always been the bill of materials. Yes, I did. And I did hear John talk about his embracing the Home Assistant idea for his shop. And if John was sitting right here, if John was right on this Discord server or right in that YouTube channel chat, Tim, I'll get you that. I would highly recommend this. I would highly recommend Home Assistant, and we now know how to do it. It's, for me, it was a Raspberry Pi 4. Go to the raspberrypi.org site, download their card writer, give it a micro SD card. It'll blast an operating system, including Home Assistant, onto the card, and put it on your network, hang it on your network, and boom, you have a Home Assistant server. Okay. So that's the answer to that. Tim, the circuit again, he wanted the numbers again. The Adafruit part number, if you just go to Adafruit's website and just type in 4654 as a search term, you should come up with the mini boost, 5-volt mini boost, 4654. And the chip that's on it is a Texas Instruments TPS 61023. Do it before midnight tonight. Yeah, so Adam, so I call so Adam is this is Adam Brunette. Adam, I would say Adam B, but now you're going to say, oh, you mean Adam Booth? No, Adam Brunette. He has Home Assistant running all over his place, and he finally said, you got to use Home Assistant. So I went and I got the Raspberry Pi up and running. I put a new operating system on the Raspberry Pi, and then I said, well, now what do I have to do to install it? And I actually went to my friend Chat. I don't know if you know him. And I said, how do I do this? It gave me steps. It said, oh, go to home, go to the raspberrypi.org. And I'm like, yeah, I did that already. And it keeps going. And it says, on the raspberrypi.org site, you just go follow their menu and you just say, put Home Assistant on this installation, and you're done. And I'm like, and then up and running, and it happened. So it's been fun. It's been and very useful and very, very happy. Thank you. Yeah, Evil's asked me earlier, why don't you do a pull request? Because it's an open source product from Adafruit, I could do a pull request and make my suggestion via GitHub. And that is probably what I'm going to do after I, no, he says, no. A pull request is not a suggestion. You see, I don't even know what I'm talking about. It's called an issue. You file an issue. Anyway, we will be doing that. I have to finish vetting my change. So that's what's coming. We're about to switch into AMAA mode. Unix Carbide says an issue is an ask to the developers. Thank you, sir. By the way, the new and updated GitHub tutorial is in the works. I'm working with Unix on that. Okay. So we're opening the floodgates. It's now AMAA time. So let's see. Seeing as Adam already checked in, Adam had a question about scanners. Are you ready, Adam? Let's see. Where are you? There you are. We could do this the easy way, or we could do this the hard way. You get to choose audio or audio and video.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, sir. Can everybody else hear you?
Oh.
Good morning. What's the weather there?
Mid-50s, raining.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so my question was, I have some money to spend towards the end of the year, and I'm looking at a 3D scanner, and I want one that's self-contained. So the Einstein Vega was one choice, but then I was looking at the Revo Point one. I'm not sure which one to go with yet, and I'm not done with my research yet, but I'm looking for opinions.
Cool. And so when I bought an Einstar handheld scanner, which was like a year and a half ago, maybe more now. So I loaned that to Adam. So Adam's been playing with that one. And now you're talking about a self-contained scanner. So it's got a compartment, it looks like a 3D printer, and it's probably got a turntable in it. Am I reading that right?
No, I'm talking about portability. So the problem with the one that I borrowed from you is that you're still tethered to a computer.
Okay.
Whether it be a gaming powered laptop or, a substantial desktop, I need something that I can take with me, remote, and not have to drag around a heavy duty computer to be able to do it. Because funny story was I borrowed that from you and I only own one computer that can actually use that scanner because it's dependent on an NVIDIA video card.
Yes, absolutely. I remember that. That was a requirement of that thing, is that it has to talk to an NVIDIA based computer. So this thing is a portable system. You can go somewhere, scan something, come back, download the data, and then go on. Paul Morley asks, which Revo, the Metrox ? Are you is that the Revo that you're looking at?
Hang on, I have to get the name of it.
Yeah, Paul's used the Metro X. Do you want to come in here on voice, Paul? It might be quicker.
Hey there, can you hear me?
Welcome, sir. Go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, yep. I've used the Metro X. I have used it only tethered to the computer. I'm actually trying to find that answer. Even if it can store, I'm not quite sure what you're asking for. You at some point, you're going to obviously have to transfer the scans to a computer that can process the point clouds and turn them into usable objects that you can use and bring into Fusion or whichever your design tool is. I agree that it would be nice to be able to scan without having a computer attached. I can say the Metro X has it's like a 6-foot cable, so you are able to kind of move around the object that you're working on, but it's not as portable as it sounded like you were describing.
Yeah, so the two that I've looked at, I put the name of the Revo Point one in the chat. So they're both self-contained, they have screens on them and everything, so you can do full capture remotely, and then obviously take it back to the desktop and do the processing. But I'm looking for something that I can take, literally outside, scan pieces of farm equipment or, to make replacement brackets and stuff like that. Like I had a project that I was trying to do where I needed to make some custom brackets for the tractor. I had to back the tractor up to the house so I could run the cable for the Einstar out the window and scan that, So I'm looking for something I can get away from a computer with.
Right.
Okay. Well,
so I don't know. I haven't used the Miraco, and I'm not sure exactly how it compares to the Metro X. The Metro stands for metrology, so it's fairly high resolution. I scanned a lathe of the actual cross slide bed on a lathe, and I ended up putting probably 150 of the little stickers on it. That's just part of life with scanning. At least that's what I've sort of come to understand. It does way better with the scan dots than if you try and have it follow just the shape of the item. It's a lot more you have to be a lot more steady and slow if you're not using the scan dots.
By the way,
I found the same thing with the Einstar too. It'll lock on to just a couple dots and you can keep going, but trying to keep it without the dots is
Right.
challenging.
And Paul, what were you scanning again?
I was scanning the cross slide on Precision Matthews lathe because
Lathe tooling.
I was using it to determine if a particular surface that I was trying to install the magnetic scale on was perpendicular to the to the slideways, which it wasn't. It was about a 2 degree, which as it turned out is probably the draft angle on the casting. So I used it for that, and then ultimately decided to take the thing off, and I milled down a flat on that area.
Cool.
But it was pretty cool, and it worked for that.
Okay. And if anybody else has specific scanner, self-contained scanner suggestions, you can send them along, and I'll make sure they get to Adam. But Paul, thanks for the input.
Yeah, the only other thing I would say is I would highly recommend anyone going back and looking at this. I don't have any affiliation with James, but Cloud42, he's got a fantastic video that he has done using his scanner. It's less about the scanner and more about how he has converted and how he leverages basically the process of taking a mesh scan and converting it into real usable model for solid modeling. It's absolutely phenomenal. I've watched it over and over and over. So
good suggestion. That was a good video.
Yeah.
Evils asks, I don't suppose anyone knows how good iPhones are for 3D scanning applications. So I did download the iPhone, or one of the iPhone scanning applications. When I did it, I wasn't overly impressed. It was not really great for doing what we're trying to do here. I think for room size things, you're trying to get the layout of a room, it's okay, it's fine, but for precision work, I don't think an iPhone is going to do it. I'd be happy to be proven wrong. Thanks, Paul. And thank you, Adam. Awesome. Let's see, sent in via one of our channels from Evils. He says, do you foresee any advancements in the field of precision ground flat stones? What research question about flat stones would you like to have answered? And I'll hold his second question for a second here. Before we do that, Kurt says, these products have not enough local memory on board for the point data storage. There is a solution with a high-speed Wi-Fi 6, but still with the GPU-focused processing power. Yeah, so that's what Adam's trying to get away from. Is he wants a completely portable package ready to go. It is challenging. So, Evils, to answer your question, the things that I see as advancements in the so-called field of precision ground flat stones, which is a very flat field, by the way, very flat. I suppose you can take some of the smarts that Marv has applied to sharpening stones and maybe learn from that and apply some of that to PFG stones. But what I've learned is that the material, the aluminum oxide material, is really superior to the silicon carbide material for a bunch of reasons. I suppose it depends on a couple of things, but it's really the superior material. I'm open to looking at other materials like a synthesized alumina ceramic with pores in it, because the pores are actually important, and that would be pretty cool to see some of that. That would be, it would be neat to have another material to try. The the carbides are okay, but I think the aluminum oxides are better for typical applications of precision ground flat stones. Also, I think some of the other developments are really on the production side, which is work holding. I'm 4 or 5 generations deep in work holding. No, the customer side is not going to see this, but there's a lot of tricks to doing the work holding well. And even, the stuff that I do in work holding is appropriate to the production rate that I have. And if the production rate went way up, we'd have to, make some other developments. And the second thing that Evil says is, what's your favorite house plant? Wow. What's my favorite house plant? I think, so when you say house plant, it implies a plant inside the house, which I tend to not like at all. Because we have we have a backyard and we have a back deck, and I would have to say, here's my answer: edible ones. Okay, moving on. While we're on the subject of AMAA, Doug Chin last week said something to me about my treatise on the physics of compressed air and moisture, and he said that I missed bringing up the whole important topic of partial pressures. So partial pressures is a way is a way to think about the physics. I don't want to scare anybody off. Maybe one day we'll get into it again and we can bring that up. But to Doug, I just want to say, you're right. Partial pressures. Let's see. Josh says, got a question that's very technical and relevant to the interests of this server. What is your go-to sushi order? My go-to sushi order is typically a sashimi deluxe Spencer way. So that's sashimi, which is the fish without the rice underneath. Deluxe just means size. It's a little bigger portion. And the Spencer way is as follows: no white tuna, extra saba. So basically, a lot of sushi places now have in their normal rotation this stuff called white tuna. Well, white tuna isn't tuna, okay? I'm trying to remember the name of the species that it is, but it is not a tuna, and I don't like it. And they started using it because it's easy to catch, but I don't. Escolar, yes, thank you. It's escolar, and I avoid it, and I don't like it. So my sushi place doesn't even have to ask me. They know, no white tuna, extra saba. Saba is the mackerel. I love the mackerel. Some people don't like it because it's fishy. And to those people, I say, why are you eating sushi? Let's see. Yeah. Warren Jones reports rain starting in Sutton, New Hampshire. Rain in Sutton, New Hampshire. Take shelter. Evils gives us the Greek, the Latin name, which I will not try to pronounce. We're just going to go with escolar. By the way, the reason escolar is sort of deprecated in my mind as a sushi fish is that it has a fat content which is very I forget the word in lipids, but it's waxy. And if you eat too much of it, it'll upset your stomach. So not a fan. Tim asks, is there a website where I could look up about 500 pounds of grinding wheels ranging in size from 8 inches to 24 inches? Google. You're looking to purchase, or you're looking to sell grinding wheels, or you're looking for information on grinding wheels. I'm confused, Tim. You bought at auction a bunch of grinding wheels and you want to sell them. Is that correct? So I see. You want to look at the grinding wheel and figure out what the heck you got. Most grinding wheels have a standard marking on them. And you probably already know this. If you don't know this, there is a PFG.Live we did on grinding wheels. And in fact, the thumbnail of the video, if you just scan through the videos, you'll see a Norton chart decoding a grinding wheel designation. And go find that. And then that was from an old Norton publication. That was really nice. If you have trouble, let me know and I will help you. I think it's still on the Norton site. Yeah, I think it's still on the Norton site. Basically, the first 3 characters are the material, right? So 32A, right? 38A. I believe the A is the material. So A is aluminum oxide. Then there's a dash. Sometimes there's no dash. And then there's the grit. So it'll say 46. And then it'll say I or J or K. So 46 is the grit. I, J, K, that's the friability. So a soft wheel would be I, and the hard wheel would be K. And then there would be the process. So it would be something like IV or V something, but so it would be vitrified or some other process. That's the last couple of characters. So you have WA80J V76. Let's see if we could decode this. The 80 is your grit. The J is your friability. So that's an 80 grit wheel. The J, HIJ. So that is a pretty hard wheel. Hard meaning less friable. And the A probably means aluminum oxide. The W, I have no idea. So that might be a proprietary blend. Is there a brand on it? Is it, or I should say a manufacturer? But we're really close here. Is it what color is the wheel? That doesn't always mean anything, but sometimes that can give you a hint also. Noritake Skyhawk. That might be import. Anybody know? The W is yeah. So the fact that it's a white aluminum oxide wheel is nice because it's sort of simple. 80, and so it's an 80 grit. J friability, and V is vitrified, probably. The 76, I don't know what it means. So that's a very nice wheel. And how many pounds of them do you have? Because that looks like a lovely wheel. And if you wanted me to test one for you, send it along. I'll mount one up and we'll do it. You got 50 of them. So Tim, if you want me to help you out and just sort of verify that it's a reasonable wheel, I'd be happy to do that if you need help. But that sounds like now it's a fine wheel. An 80 grit is pretty fine. So it's not baby's first wheel, but I think it's very useful. Yeah, up to 2 feet. Oh my God. Well, the 8-inch ones are mighty useful for a lot of people that we know. Okay. As soon as you go over 8 inches, you're talking much bigger grinders and a much smaller population of people that can use them. All right. So stay in touch, and if I could help you out, it'll give me an excuse to do something else. The picture fooled you. Yeah. There was no banana for scale. That's the problem. There's your problem. Okay. Tuck had a question. Yeah. Dale says big grinders are better grinders. I believe you. Tuck had a question. Tuck, you want to do this live? Let's see. You're welcome to come in. I'm going to show some pictures that Tuck sent me. Tuck has a problem. Oh, there he is. Please stand by.
Hello there. You hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. How are you?
We're doing it live.
Doing it live. So I'm
well.
gonna bring up your pictures that you sent me. There you are. So go ahead. Why don't you explain what the challenge is here?
So I have a Wilson Toucan micro hardness tester that has a platform that adjusts up and down with a fine and a coarse adjustment knob. Now, recently, the coarse adjustment knob has broken, and I am now in the search for a new one and reaching out to the manufacturer. They don't make them anymore. And it's this really unique wire reinforced plastic belt that looks like a timing belt, but isn't, that is used for these adjustments. Now, obviously, the machine still has a coarse feed, so it's still functional, but it takes forever to try and wind the platform up and down. So I'm trying to either find replacements for, or if anybody has suggestions on how to make some new ones, I'm all ears. Or if anybody has suggestions on materials that I could perhaps make one out of.
Yeah, so my guess is that there's somebody out there that's making these belts, but if not, one of the questions I'd have for you, Tuck, is it possible to change the pulleys that require these belts to something that requires a more modern belt?
Potentially.
Yeah. There are companies that make those, that's what they make, is they make the little belts, and I just don't remember the name of any of those companies. Oh, there we go. Robin says it looks like a PIC components belt.
Robin always coming in with the knowledge that I need.
There we go. Yeah, I knew you'd know, Robin. That it's that class of small parts. PIC Components is the name of the company. You want to join us on the conversation here, Robin? You're welcome to. Let me turn on your audio. There you go.
I was wrong. It's Winfried M. Berg. I picked the first thing that came to mind, but Winfried M. Berg sells this style of belt in multiple pitches and widths and everything. And there's kits for splicing it.
Touchdown.
Winfried M. Berg.
Oh,
I'll post the.
Oh, excellent! Thanks.
Oh,
thanks, Robin.
Is this the so-called Berg catalog?
Yeah, probably.
I have 7 neurons firing on Berg. Okay, thank you, Robin.
Yeah, that's most helpful. Thank you.
There you go. That's what we do here. We solve problems. Thank you, Tuck.
And if I have a result, I will be sure to post it so we can share what happened.
The link is in the chat.
Thanks.
Take care. Woohoo! I love it when a plan comes together.
Yikes.
Excellent. All right. Well, we're at the top of the hour, so officially we're going to get kicked out of here by the owners soon. Anybody have any questions that we missed? Anybody have any new questions that we could hit really quick? Otherwise, we'll call it a day. We solved some problems. Yeah, we got some questions answered. And this is why I love this community, because everybody has different but overlapping areas of expertise, and we get to help each other out. And that is such a great win. So seeing no other traffic coming in at the moment, I think we're going to call it. Thanks for being here. I hope you have an awesome weekend. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day on the Monday. If you have the day off, do something fun. I am required by law to tell you to please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment. We get very few comments, which means everybody's happy. They have nothing to complain about. But if you have a happy comment, you feel free to leave it on the YouTubes. And if you need something flat, feel free to go over to pfgstones.com, Get yourself something flat, because flat is where it's at. So with that, I'll wish you guys a great weekend. Thank you, everybody. Get flat, stay flat. We'll see you soon.